All right, happy October. Let's jumpstart your brains for this month and give you some tips on how to win. It's always on the first you kind of do a little reset. Can everybody hear me? Hello. All right. I was just going for a walk. Wanted to say hi and wish everybody happy October. Where's everyone? Where are you tuning in from? Maybe give you some couple things to think about this month to win. Definitely the first of the month. Make sure you unsubscribe to all the drama and the negativity from last month. You're allowed to do that. Okay, we can't hear you. Amazing. Yeah, I don't know how my reception is here, but it's good to see you all here. Ken, I'm not in New York City. I've been traveling for 3 straight weeks, 7 cities. I'm in West Virginia. I just left Los Angeles, Nigeria, South Africa, Colombia. Amazing. South Carolina. Nice view. Thanks. I'm doing a talk. Here. So I just landed and going to give a presentation in a little bit. And yeah, feeling good. We were all over the place. Did a week in Los Angeles. Good seeing a lot of you at the Driven event. Biohacking conference in Orlando was amazing. Amelia Island, Las Vegas, to all our friends at Truckload, Philippines, Turkey. All right, so New Zealand. It's good to see friends everywhere. Just a quick check-in. It's October 1st, and what do you think you need to win this month? I think we could stop something and start something. How about that? Stop one thing and start one thing this month. What do you think that would be for you? Hello, South Africa, Ukraine. Right, so we know that it's, and I think the treasure we seek is hidden in our daily routines. Just bought your book. You're awesome. Thank you. UAE. Trying to see if I could get there in November. Dubai. So maybe that'll work out. So think about really simple. Thinking is good, but overthinking and wanting things to be perfect, not so good. But as you're thinking about the last 3 months of this year, and when we're looking at this last quarter, what would make it outstanding for you? I even break down the day. If somebody, you break down the day and say, when you're going to bed, what's, what has to happen in order, let's say at the end of the day, right, okay, so let's start. The most important thing is to keep the most important thing the most important thing, right? The most important thing is to keep the most important thing the most important thing. And so beginning with the end in mind, when somebody asks you at the end of the day, how was your day? And you're like, this was amazing. I crushed it today. It was so amazing. Then you ask yourself, what had to happen in order for me to feel that way? And then focus on those things. What 3 things had to happen? Or maybe 3 things personally, 3 things professionally had to happen in order for you to feel like you won. And then, but even that same concept, we don't have to wait for New Year's 2022. What if you're to project 3 months from now or at the end of this month, and somebody asks you how'd October go for you, or how'd the last 3 months of 2021 go for you, and you're like, this is amazing, it's better than I expected. Then ask yourself what had to happen in order for that experience to occur. And so I think it's really hard, everyone, to stop somebody who knows where they're going and why they're going there. That's been my experience. Clarity is power. So clarity of your head and your heart and your hands, right? Your mindset, your motivation, and the methods you're using, as we talk about in the Limitless model. So I have a few minutes before I got to get set, and I'm speaking here. Sorry, whoop. At this, I'm speaking where I'm at right now. I'm going to give a presentation, but I wanted to check in with all of you to see how your intention is for October, and what you need to do to make it special. And if there are any questions for me, I'm happy to answer those questions. So, but as a general strategy, ask yourself, what's one thing? And I mentioned unsubscribing to drama and negativity from last month, since it's the first of the month and we can cancel those subscriptions. What's one thing to stop? And then now that you stop something, it makes room for something to start. And what would you like to start? So those are some things to think about. But on top of that, questions. I am limitless. You certainly are. I have a question. How do you find clarity? For me, questions are the answer. Questions are your answer. Ask yourself clarifying question. Like, what's most important to me? I love this question. What's most important to me in life? What's most important to me in my career? What's most important to me in my family, in my relationships? What's most important to me in learning, in my happiness? And that's your target, right? That's your true north. And then ask yourself another question, clarifying question. Are my actions each day aligned with those values? Does that make sense? Because a lot of times if you're going, really fast in your car throughout the day, metaphorically just getting things done, if you feel burnt out, maybe it's not because you're doing too much, maybe because you're doing too little of the things that make you come alive, that really light you up. And but how do you know what those are? Sometimes we've been doing the same thing over and over again for so long, we haven't checked in with ourselves saying, am I really going in the right direction? Alexandra, how do you find your calling? Well, sometimes, chasing it is good. Sometimes when we stop chasing things, we give the things that are chasing us time to catch up also, so you never know. I think it's passion and purpose. So very quickly, we talk about it in Limitless. Passion is what lights you up. And in order to find that, I think you have to give yourself a lot of stimulus, a lot of novelty. Go around and, expose yourself to new experiences, new individuals, new ideas, and see where your heart goes, right? Follow your heart. Follow your heart, but bring your brain. How about that? So I think passion is something that you, through exposure in your environment, you see what you get drawn to. And then I think purpose, I'm not sure what you mean about calling, but purpose, so passion is what lights you up. Purpose is how you use that passion to light other people up. So I have a passion for learning, and that lights me up. And I teach people how to learn so I can light other people up, and that's my purpose. So learning is my passion, teaching others how to learn is my purpose, if that makes sense. Also, it's kind of like when we're talking about passion and purpose, it's kind of like when people ask about true love. It's not something you don't find true love, right? You could discover that person, but you need to develop it also as well. So it's just not discovering is half of it. You can discover your passions, but you need to develop them also. You can discover purpose, but you need to develop and build purpose. Same thing in a relationship. So you could discover that amazing individual, but you have to be able to also build it and be willing to do the work. So I hope that's useful. Jacksonville, I was just there speaking at Amelia Island. I was just mentioning literally 7 cities in 14 days. Who are you? I'm a lifetime learner. Yeah, when you change things at an identity level, it definitely changes things. Meaning that, if your belief is I'm a procrastinator, getting yourself to work out or exercise or, read, meditate, it's going to be harder. But if you just see yourself as I am a reader, and that's just, you don't have to be forced to read, it's just who you are, right? And so I think that's my focus is to really get to the integration place. How do you get unstuck when you're feeling too slow? I did a podcast. If you search Jim Kwik, Get Unstuck, I talk about how there's a truck that's not paying attention, and the truck driver is not paying attention and ends up going underneath a bridge that's hanging too low. And sometimes in life we're not paying attention, right? We're not conscious, we're not aware, and we could drive underneath a bridge that's too low, so it gets stuck. And what does he do? He automatically thinks, well, I'm going to work harder, and pushes on the gas and gets more stuck. And then he realizes getting more stuck, then he says, okay, I'm going to go in reverse, but by that time he can't get out, right? And he feels trapped. So if there's an area of your life you feel stuck or trapped, you're not making progress, and by the way, in this story I talk about in our podcast, which I know many of you listen to, check out the link in my bio, one of the most binge listened to shows on Spotify and YouTube, just because it's only 15 minutes, right, on average. There's all this traffic starts building up behind the truck that's stuck underneath the bridge, and it's backing up for blocks, and then a mile, and emergency trucks start showing up. People getting out of their cars, and there's a big crowd outside, and what do? The experts try to push the truck in deeper, nothing happens. They try to pull it, nothing happens, and they've come to the conclusion, well, then we have to blow up this truck. We have to blow it up to 1 million pieces so that we can pull out the pieces out, because it's we got to get it out and get traffic moving. And then a 6-year-old child yells out, "Why don't you just deflate the tires?" Why don't you just deflate the tires? And then the adults are like, mind blown. And then what happens? They deflate the tires, and then all of a sudden the truck sinks down, and then they're able to pull it out. And it's kind of like the elusive obvious, right? Part of getting unstuck, sometimes we know what the answer is to get unstuck, and we try to overcomplicate things. And I just want to remind you that thinking is good, but overthinking and wanting things to be perfect, not so good, right? And a lot of us, sometimes we get this mentality that we have to work harder, we have to make things more complex. And I think the rapid growth of like Kwik Brain and the podcast and the book is, I think we just take the complex things like neuroscience, adult learning theory, multiple intelligence theory, ancient mnemonics, and we just simplify it and make it extremely practical. And that's really our goal. 95% of the stuff we publish is just free out there. You have unfeathered access to to all the world's information, and through YouTube and podcasts. And so that's what I'm thinking. So how do you get unstuck? I'll tell you, if you don't want to overthink it, take one small step. It's the beginning of October, right? What's one thing you could do? And even I opened this conversation, what's one thing you could stop doing and one thing you could start doing? You're like, Jim, I'm going to just really go on a fast of complaining or making excuses. Because the truth is, it just wastes time and energy, and nobody really cares. There's this thing called the spotlight effect, where spotlight effect basically says we overemphasize how much attention we're actually getting, and how much people are putting, that people are thinking actually about us, because it's actually very little. And so we tend to be nervous about other people's opinions and their expectations, and when most people don't care. And honestly, the people that you're complaining to, probably some of them are happy that you're going through it, and they feel better about their lives. And complaining, and it's okay to vent, and I'm totally for it, not to hold it in. But, we can't be upset by the results we didn't get, by the work we didn't do. I just feel strongly about that you have your agency, you maintain your power, and and that you are stronger than you think. So I have so many interests in learning, I feel overwhelmed. Yes, break it down. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's way too hard. What books am I reading now? Well, I've been traveling for a few weeks. I don't like reading on screens, but I do have books. A lot of the books that I read are for our podcast, Making Parents Proud. I'll tell you about my books in a moment, but mostly they're podcast guests. We have a lot of podcasts coming up, a lot. We might start publishing twice a week, because we have next 4 months podcasts already recorded. And so making your parents proud. Yeah, I think for me, growing up with some learning difficulties and some challenges in that area, I really wanted to make 2 people proud, and they're we're my parents. I mean, I'd like to make them proud, but I don't have control over how people perceive me. Who the 2 people I want to make proud is? I want to make the 90-year-old me proud. So if I was to go to the future and look back and think about who I am today, I'd like that 90-year-old me to be proud. And I'd also like the other second person to be the 9-year-old me, the one that was really, really struggling back in school. That boy that just felt like he wasn't enough. He was doubting himself, and I'd want to make those. So I think there's a younger version of ourselves and an older version of ourselves that's who I want to make proud. Right now, Mel Robbins, I just interviewed her this week, so that's on the podcast. She has a new book called high five habit, and just every morning, just high-fiving yourself in the mirror. Just add that right after you brush your teeth. High-five yourself, because unconsciously, the act of high-fiving imagine high-fiving other people, right? You're giving them encouragement. You're saying, "I love you. I'm acknowledging you. You're doing well. You're celebrating them. You're cheering them on." It's hardwired, since we're kids. But I think you want to do that for other people, but you definitely want to do it for yourself. So we're doing a high five challenge. If you go to jimkwik.com/Mel, you could check that out. jimkwik.com/Mel, MEL, and you could do it with Mel and I. And please join us. A lot of friends are doing this and going to do this high five challenge that makes things a lot, kind of fun and doable. So check that out. What else, everybody? You missed this story. High five. We did a podcast on it. So all the information is online. Again, if you're just joining us, my name is Jim. For new friends, I'm a brain guy. Happen to be in West Virginia right now. First time here. I'm speaking at a gathering here this evening. Beautiful property, by the way. I don't know if you can see this, but this place is huge. It just goes on for forever. But this is kind of like my warm-up. Not my warm-up. I've been speaking so much the past few weeks. The books. So Mel Robbins has a new book, High Five Habit. I've interviewed a lot of people who have books. There's a great interview coming out next week, in 2 weeks, or a week and a half, with my friend Jen Lim, and she has one on happiness. She's the CEO of Delivering Happiness, which she founded with Tony Hsieh, the late Tony Hsieh of Zappos. That's a great book, and it's a great interview. We're doing some interesting things in the area of brain health. We'll be hosting any conference in Toronto. Yeah, we want to do more. There was a time where I'd be on 3 continents in 1 week to be able to meet every one of you. It's been good, but hopefully, it's going to open up more, and we'll get more of a. We have something working on a new book, so my deadline's coming up. So I'm going to hopefully not travel as much, but I love live. I love meeting so many of you. And I mentioned I was in 7 cities in the past 2 weeks alone. Many of you. What advice do you have for people after college? Okay, so clarity is important. I think right after college, that's the time when you really should take risks, honestly, if you can do that, and expose yourself to things that really capture your heart, also as well. Whether you want, discovering traveling. Quincy Jones told me on stage once at one of our events that you have to go to know. And I know travel is very difficult, both time and treasure, and just under the current conditions. But whenever you change perspective around place and people, it doesn't have to be traveling outside even your own city. Just going to a different place and being around different people gives you a fresh perspective. And then finding mentors, that's a big one. Finding somebody who is doing well in an area that you find interesting, that you feel drawn to. It's the fastest way to shortcut something is to have a coach. I have a voice coach because I used to lose my voice a lot. I have a sleep coach. I have a business coach, and I didn't always start that way. My coaches in the beginning were books, right? So that's really the thing. Sorry. Will I come to, yes, Iceland and India and everywhere? I want to go everywhere, without a doubt. So we'll make it possible. Sorry, just blocking some random people, or just. I love how 99% of people that are in our community are just very positive and everything, and so that means everything to me. You guys cheer each other on. I always talk about a positive peer group, and we are who we spend time with, and who we spend time with is who we become. And I appreciate how a lot of you are answering each other's questions with with things I've said in the past, and that means a lot to me. how to read and memorize if you study 14. If you're studying 14 hours a day, oh my goodness, you. Oh, let me say this. How do I say this? Um, okay, so I'm not saying this is you, but anybody. But sometimes we glorify being busy. You know what I mean? We use it as a badge of honor. Somebody asks you how you're doing. I'm just so busy, and it might be true without a doubt. I mean, a lot of people have a lot of activities and in their day. But I would challenge people who say that all the time that we're getting a secondary gain out of it, because the secondary gain that we're getting is we're communicating something. The undertone of saying you're busy is that you're important, right? That you're significant, and nothing wrong with that. That's a need we all have in our personality. But I wouldn't be proud of being busy, because you know why? If you're getting a lot of satisfaction from saying that, you're going to design your life to be extremely busy, and then you're going to wonder why you feel burnt out or exhausted or stressed all the time. Um, I don't glorify being busy. I mean, I have a lot on my plate, like a lot of you, but if I'm too busy and I'm working 14 hours to study, then I'm not doing it right, and I actually don't look at it as a positive. I'm not being very efficient with my time or the tools that I'm using, and so I would be more. I don't mind. Working hard is an important ingredient to life and success, but working smart, far more important. Just like that child who deflate the tires. That's working way smarter than 20 people pushing a truck out or blowing it up. All right. There's so much here I want to unpack. How do you learn in a long time? I'm telling you, like, the easiest thing to do, everybody, once we're off this, like, you get off this, is go to my bio and just go to the profile. I have a free masterclass there on speed reading. It's 1 hour long that we used to charge for, that I put it on recently. You just bring a book online. I'll show you how to improve your reading speed 50%. There's 3 videos on there you could opt in for, and I bring people on stage and teach you how to remember names. So a lot of that's going on here in this conversation, a lot of the stuff that is addressed, but honestly, people have to be willing to do the work. It's not fake it till you make it, it's face it till you make it, right? And it just comes before anything else. Commitment, consistency, determination, all of it comes, as the quote says, all of it comes before success, both in life and the dictionary also as well. How do you improve the intelligence of the brain? Well, I mean, I think the best way to upgrade your software is to read. I mean, if you've ever seen, me on social media with Elon or Oprah or Bill Gates, whoever, we bonded over books. Leaders are readers. Somebody has decades of experience they put into a book, and you can sit down in a few days and read that book. You can download decades into days. Are you kidding me? Like, what better advantage is there? Thank you. Love your content. You're such a motivational speaker. I'm glad I'm motivating. I also want to make sure that give you some mechanics also, that you're not just inspired, that I give you some instructions. So I think it's very powerful. I'm going to wrap up because it's coming up to my time where I need to speak and present. Does anybody have what's your favorite tips when you need to perform? You need to, it's game time. Do you guys have any favorite tips in terms of, let's say, hey, you're an hour out from when you need to, show up in a big way, maybe on the court or on stage or the court or stage of life? I prefer paper books over ebooks, no doubt, without a doubt. Traveling, it's hard because I read a lot and can't, travel with 20 books. Maybe I can, but it's not super convenient. I like to get off screens as much as possible, so that's the thing. I mean, I don't spend a lot of time on social media. If I haven't been doing as many lives. You know why? Because I'm in our app. We have a free app, and wow, beautiful birds. We have a free app. Link, if you search Jim Kwik or Kwik Brain app, it's free to join. That's where you can create a social media profile there and connect with other people in our community. Join our Limitless Book Club there. That's where I'm most active. I answer 25 messages a day there also as well. If you do like to text, my text number is in my bio, but it only works right now in the United States. But that's actually me returning your texts, which is great. Uh, favorite books? I mean, the classics: Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, a great book called Mindset, a great book called Flow, a great book. I mean, Jesus, like the do you have favorite books? Like, do you have? I mean, have you ever seen my libraries? I just have a lot of books. Let's see, maybe some that you haven't heard from. Body Keeps Score, amazing book. It really depends what your outcome is, because I could give you 50 books for any category probably. Um, so anyway, I appreciate all of you. I want to thank you for just every time you like or share or comment on one of my posts. Action steps. Remember this: like, you want to think like a person of action, and you want to act like a person of thought. Right? Everything has to go from your head to your heart to your hands, and that's really the goal. So I would say, if you're not sure what to do, go to the profile. Go to my profile right after we end, and go to the link. And there's like 6 different things that are free there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Right? We have like almost 700,000 subscribers there. Subscribe to our iTunes, our podcast, on Spotify. Take the masterclass that we have on speed reading. We have 3 videos where I teach you how to memorize speeches, facts, and names and faces. Go there, or join our app. I mean, I think that's probably the easiest thing to do. Join our app, because that's where I spend all our social media time, more than all the others combined. Is where I spend the social media time. My final words for everybody is, wherever you are in the world right now, just sending you lots of love. And that's it. We're all on this quest, this journey together as we start a new month together. Unsubscribe to all the drama and the negativity of last month, and free yourself. A lot of the weight you're carrying, the stress, anxiety, the shame, the guilt, truth is, it's not yours to carry. Set it down. Let's bring light into. Let's bring joy into our activity. Let's bring playfulness into it. Let's bring kindness. Don't dim things down. Like, so many people dim like their potential, they dim their light because it's shining in somebody else's eyes. Don't do that. Like, shine bright. Like, be an example for them. An inspiring example for them, because that's what you are. You have this potential to be an inspiring force of nature, an unstoppable force for good. I think that's why we're here, is to be able to. You go out there and make $1, that's great, but I think it's more powerful to make a difference, right? And make those 2 people proud. Remember, it's not your parents. Make the 90-year-old self, the 90-year-old me, make that proud. And the 90-year-old you, and make that 9-year-old you, the one that was, that they met you right now, and they'd be like, yeah, because the life you live are the lessons you teach. The life you live are the lessons you teach. All right, much love, everybody. Let's make sure you hit notifications also. So I'm going to start, maybe go live more often. And, one little idea, inspiration, encouragement, the butterfly effect, right? A butterfly flapping its wings here in West Virginia could create a tsunami of, across the world. And same thing with kindness, right? One kind act could transform the cosmos, and we need more of that more than ever. So, much love, learning. I'm your brain coach, Jim Kwik, and be limitless.